Welcome to This Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here today because, well, we're tackling a subject that is a huge point of curiosity and, frankly, a bit of confusion for so many folks out there. We're looking at the rules around police interactions and privacy here in the USA. We all value our privacy, right? But when you're interacting with law enforcement, the rules of the game can shift dramatically. We've taken the core data on police recording rights, distilled it all down, and built this explainer to give you a clear, structured understanding of exactly where you stand. No fluff, just the facts you actually need to know. Okay, let's dive into this. Can police actually record you without your permission? The short answer, which honestly catches a lot of people off guard, is yes, absolutely. In fact, you might be recorded by police without even realizing it's happening. A lot of folks don't fully grasp when recording is allowed during these interactions, mostly because the lines between our personal privacy and standard legal police procedures can seem pretty blurred. But don't worry, by the end of this explainer, you're going to have a rock-solid mental framework for exactly how this whole thing works.
Section 1. The reality of recording.
So let's break down the specific tools out there. First up, body cameras. These are increasingly standard issue for officers, actively worn right on their chests to capture the audio and video of the immediate interaction. Then we've got dashboard cameras. Take a standard traffic stop, for example, one of our most common, realistic scenarios. When you get pulled over on a public road, that dash cam on the police cruiser is almost certainly rolling, documenting the entire event from the literal second those lights start flashing. And finally, surveillance systems. This could be city-owned cameras in public parks or traffic intersections that police have access to. The main takeaway here? You shouldn't be surprised by recording. You should expect it. It's just a frequent, standard reality of modern police work. Moving on to Section 2, privacy in public spaces. And this brilliantly illustrates the critical difference in privacy rights based on your physical location. If you're walking down a city sidewalk, or sitting on a public park bench, or driving down a public highway, well, there are generally far fewer expectations of privacy. Since you're out in the open, police, and frankly anyone else for that matter, generally don't need your permission to record you. But let's look at a totally different yet totally realistic example. Say an officer comes up to your front door, or actually steps inside your home. The whole dynamic completely changes. That is a private location where you have a significantly higher expectation of privacy. Now, while officers with a warrant or in certain specific duties might still be able to record, the threshold and the rules governing that recording are fundamentally different than when you're just standing on a street corner. It is all about context.
Section 3. Knowing your recording rights.
Here's the flip side of the coin. In a lot of situations, you, as a citizen, can also record police interactions using your phone or camera in public. This is incredibly empowering information to have. If you're in one of those public spaces we just talked about, or privacy expectations are low, you generally have the right to act as your own observer. You can absolutely pull out your phone and document the interaction. That camera lens works both ways in a public setting. But, and this is a big but, just because you have the right to do something doesn't mean you can do it however you please. There's a right way and a very wrong way to exercise this right.
Which brings us to Section 4. Staying calm and safe.
Let's walk through a practical checklist for safe, legal conduct during these encounters. Step 1, know your local laws. The USA doesn't have just one blanket recording law, it's a total patchwork. For example, some states require what's called two-party consent, where everybody involved has to agree to audio recording, while others are strictly one-party consent. On top of that, some local ordinances now dictate a specific physical distance you literally have to maintain while you're filming. Step 2, never physically interfere with investigations while recording. This one is absolute. If you're filming, you cannot step between the officer and the person they're talking to. You cannot block their path, and you definitely cannot physically touch them or their equipment. Doing any of that immediately transforms you from a legal observer into someone actively breaking the law. And step 3, do not escalate emotionally. So the crucial point is this. Escalating a situation emotionally is simply the biggest behavioral mistake you can make. When tensions rise, logic often just goes right out the window. So here's a quick step-by-step guide to staying calm during these high-stress encounters. First, take a deep breath before you speak. Second, keep your hands clearly visible at all times. Third, speak slowly and in a totally measured tone. Why is this so incredibly crucial? Because emotionally escalating can drastically and negatively impact your legal outcome. It hands officers immediate grounds for an obstruction or disorderly conduct charge, completely destroying your credibility as an objective observer. Your calmness is literally your armor. It keeps the interactions strictly professional and ensures that your rights remain the focus rather than your behavior. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to internalize this. In stressful situations, knowledge and calmness truly are your absolute best protection. We've established that police are highly likely to be recording you. We've established you have rights to record them in public spaces, provided you don't physically interfere and you keep a level head. But remember that very first step from our checklist? The rules totally change depending on where you live. So, I want to leave you with this provocative question to chew on. Are you actually aware of the specific recording laws right there in your own state? I highly encourage you to go look them up today. Be informed, stay calm, and keep learning.